I am recording. So, hi everybody. My name is MaryAnn, and tonight's call is how to overcome objections. And for those of you that don't know me, I am MaryAnn, and I've been a coach for about 2 years now, and I do work full-time in property management. I also am a part-time personal trainer, and I teach insanity. Yay! We're really lucky to have Beachbody because they actually give us tools in the back office that help us share and not sell. And I'll post that process as well. Tommy Migrant is the one that actually created it. And when we think of objections, we need to think of them as a good thing because that means somebody is actually considering doing what we're asking them to do, and that's better than them not responding at all. I don't know about you guys, but I get really excited, and I call myself the eager beaver because sometimes when I'm talking to someone, I get so excited about it that I just spew off a bunch of things, and I'm like, oh my gosh, I love Beachbody, it's changed my life, ah! And then like people are like, whoa, this girl's like really intense, she's really crazy. And it's just because I'm passionate about it. So I know it's good to be passionate, but don't be too eager beaver. We talk a lot about building relationships. And the reason why we need to build those relationships, especially in that 5-step process, is because we're learning about people. And, uh-oh, I hear somebody. Mute, please. We want to learn about people, and we want to learn what their health and fitness goals are and what type of nutrition they already are doing, and learning what has worked for them in the past and, what hasn't worked for them. So there's different stages when we first meet someone. And the first stage is, first they're an acquaintance more times than not if we're meeting them online. And so, like Meet the Fockers, he says this is the circle of trust. So I think of that as people want to trust us, and they need to get to know us well before they let us in and trust them. So we need to ask them questions about themselves so we know about them. Then we go to that connection part. And that's, our potential customers or clients when they're telling us about themselves. So for example, after we ask them questions, we connect with them and say, thank you so much for telling me this about you. And then try to relate to what they're saying because people always want someone to relate to them. The next thing is stage 3, which is find your purpose. So what I'm looking for is someone that's going to be a part of a closed online support group. And in this support group, we all do a workout and we replace one meal with Shakeology. And then they know your purpose of why you're contacting them. And then, like I said, we talk about the other stage would be building that relationship. So the biggest objection that we always get is, how much does it cost? And I talked about that eager beaver, and sometimes I just spew out like, oh, it's $160 and you have to buy this challenge pack because this is the challenge pack that's on sale. But you don't want to do that because you need to focus on that person, and that person might not be able to be a person that's going to do insanity because you need to ask them, what do you like, lifting weights? Do you like just strictly doing cardio? Do you like doing a combination of both? Do you feel like you're a beginner, or do you feel like you're advanced on your fitness journey? Because, and I've made that mistake where I just tell them whatever's on sale, but you have to care about that person. And when you do that, that's going to help you not get those objections as often as when you're the eager beaver person. So connect with anyone you're talking to. Tell them stories. So, we have a whole team of people that we could tell stories about. And people like hearing that because it's relatable. So, okay, so also I wanted to talk to you guys about sometimes we have our own objections for ourselves, and so that's why that personal development part is really big, to prevent having those objections, because we need to be confident in ourselves and confident in what we're doing, because we're going to portray that confidence onto other people when we're talking to them about themselves and helping them build their confidence and what's going to work best for them. So one of my favorite things, for the objections is the saying that I don't know about this, all I know is this. So for example, I'll say something like, I don't know about that, all I know is I lost 40 pounds after I had a baby. And someone, because a lot of times people will try to say, oh, well, I'm doing this. Well, I don't know about that, but I know I did this and it worked. And so you have to figure out what that is for you. And I would even write a list of, I don't know about this. So I could use Greg for an example. I could say, I don't know. All I know is my friend Greg is in his 40s and he has a six-pack. And, then that's relatable. They see a picture of me and my friend Greg, and it's a real life story. Also, someone says I don't have time. Well, I don't know. All I know is my friend Leanne runs ultra marathons and she has like 4 kids. That's another great example of something that you could use, because that's relatable and that's a real person. And it just goes back to that. And you can also do that for being a coach too. If somebody's interested in being a coach, I always say, I'm honest with them. I say, I don't know about that. All I know is my best friend quit her full-time job and she's Beachbody full-time. So that's what I'm going to do, because I want to be at home. So that's great line. The person that is asking questions always wins. So make sure you're that person. Always bring it back to asking that person questions. It's good to tell the stories, but don't talk too much. I know I've done it before. We probably all have done it. So money is one of the biggest ones. And, you could relate to that in your life. You could say something like, and this is the truth, I'll say, hey, I understand where you're coming from. When I bought Insanity, I wasn't working and I just wanted a change so bad. And I just took that chance and now it's changed my life. And, you could say it about you. You could say it about somebody else. A lot of times people are going to say, well, how much does it cost? Say it's different for every person, but we're going to find out what program is best for you. Then one of the questions that I ask someone, if they don't respond to me, I'll message them back and I'll say, were you serious about wanting to get healthy and fit? Because I haven't heard back from you. So kind of put it back on them. And then if they are serious, they're going to write back. Another objection that I don't like is, well, I have to talk to my spouse about that. Well, instead of just letting it go and saying, oh, lost them, ask them about their spouse. Say, oh, what is he or she like? How long have you guys been married? Go back to asking those questions so you don't get those objections, so you could help them. Try to be that connector, and even say, hey, if you want, I could talk to both of you about it, or maybe you guys both could do the program together, because that would be so fun. Another really good thing to say to people is, I respect that, or I understand that. Because when you say that, people feel comforted and they're not feeling like that they're getting attacked. So another thing that we sometimes get is, like, I get a lot of times people are saying, oh, well, I'm doing this product, or I'm doing this protein shake. And then I just say, well, I go back to the, I don't know about that. All I know is this stuff works for me and it's created an amazing lifestyle for me. And it hasn't been a quick fix. It's been a lifestyle change. then I'll always say, does that make sense? And then see what their response is. Yeah. Advocare is one that I get a lot too. So I would just go back to I don't know about that. All I know is I do this and it works for me. Do you guys have any other objections that you get or anything that you guys want to talk about?
I wanted to just add on that last piece you said on the comparison. Can you hear me?
Mm-hmm.
Okay. The comparison is, it's easy to fall into the trap of this, spreadsheet is, the columns, this product is better than this product, and this has more protein, and this has less sugar, and those are all the facts, and those are important as well, but you want to focus on, like you're saying, I don't know about that, but it's really worked great for me, and then you move to the stories again. Worked great for me, and so, my neighbor, and you tell the stories and how they reduce their cholesterol, and people want to migrate towards people they trust, and something in front of them. If there's a product just as good, but they don't know about it, and it's from someone they don't know, they're just going to go with you, and they're going to have your help. So just don't slip into that. It's good for having the important information, but when you go back and forth and you get into an argument about that, you're not going to win. No one wins.
Yeah, more times than not, people are going to buy stuff from you because they like you. The only difference between, you as a Beachbody coach and somebody else is who you are. So you have to build that relationship and go back to the stories. And, that's why it's so awesome to be a part of such a great team, because we have a lot of stories that we could share.
Or no, one other thing, I got all kinds of thoughts in my head, is that the more that you talk to them and ask questions and answer their questions and just listen to them, the less they actually will ask you about the product. That's what I find. Sometimes I'll talk to someone and they don't really even ask the price. I mean, that's if I have a deep enough relationship with them and I know that they need it, then we won't really even talk about that, because the price becomes less important. When they know that if your life's going to change and it's $140, yeah, try to argue that one. I mean, even if I said I had great success with P90X, if I would have changed it and said, well, there's 12 DVDs, there's an ab workout, on Monday you do this workout, Tuesday you do this workout, and then on these days you have this to eat, and then in the afternoon you eat this. I mean, it's still valid, it's great information, but it's not a strong selling point though. That's more for the after part, when they're ready to make a commitment. That's all I have for now. I'll let someone else talk.
I want to say about the price too is something we talked about when I was doing financial consulting, is $5 a day, 30 days a month, that's $150 a month. So, if you know people that go to Starbucks 4 times a day and spend $4 to $7 on a cup of coffee, how many times a day? If you put it in simple terms, like $5 a day, it's a lot easier for people to understand, and it's a really easy way to save money. I mean, we were talking about that for financial freedom down the road, for life insurance, or finding money that you're already spending. So that's something that you can talk to people about too, if that's one of the objections. Like, well, do you go to Starbucks or do you eat out? Shakeology breaks down to $4 a day or $4 a shake, I guess, basically. So, drink a shake instead of going to Starbucks. It'll give you just as much energy, but same price basically. So.
Yeah, and it's healthier for you too.
And you want to keep the conversation flowing. Always end on a question. You probably mentioned this, or we talk about that a lot. But even if they say no, I'm not interested at this time, it's just not a good time for me, you keep talking to them. They're not just a number. They're not just a point or two. MaryAnn, MaryAnn, I don't know why I call you MaryAnn. You froze there for a second. But treat them like a real person, and then they'll stick around, and maybe in 2 months they'll be ready because they trust you.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe you should do some role play. Could ask you some questions and see how you handle it.
Okay.
Or maybe someone want to jump in and ask maybe a question we didn't cover. Because I think you covered a majority of them, but if anyone has a question, just jump in. I'm not a shake person. Okay, let's try this. I'm the potential customer here, but I'm not really a shake person. I just can't stomach it. It just doesn't taste good. How would you respond to that?
Well, if they lived by me, I would say, I understand where you're coming from, but I would love for you to come to my house and I will show you how it's done. And I'm a shake person, and I'm sure you will be too after I make one for you.
Oh, but my husband tried that one time back in like 1980, and it was just horrible. I tried it, and I couldn't drink it.
Oh, okay.
I don't think I could ever do that.
Well, I know that shakes have come a long way, and I know that you have never tried Shakeology before, so I really think that now's the time for you to just give it a try. Just give it a try. There's a 30-day money-back guarantee. If you do it for 30 days and you don't like it, you get your money back, but if you do it for 30 days and you lose 5 pounds, then you had nothing to lose but that 5 pounds.
But I like the Slim Fast, and it's only $10.
Interesting. What flavor do you like?
The high fructose corn syrup one is really good. I like that one.
Oh, is that chocolate by chance?
No, it's chemically laden with mercury, I think. I like that one. It's good.
Okay. Have you?
No, so basically, a lot of times the education piece, if you can educate a little bit more, because a lot of the other products that are so cheap, I mean, you don't even really benefit anything. You're probably hurting yourself more than anything. So if people are just looking at straight dollar value, then it's education and stories.
Yeah. I mean, this is one thing that I have been using. When people say that's expensive, I'll say it's not cheap to have a beach body.
Right, but I mean, the thing is that no one really looks at. I could name off someone almost every day that I know, indirectly or directly, that is going to the hospital or paying some medications or whatever. That we don't really ever consider that a cost. That's just what normal is. But I mean, I use my story. I'm 42. I'm on 0 medications. I feel great, and that's just about not by accident. It's because I'm doing what I need to do. I must be lucky. So, want to say hi? Questions?
I have a question. What if you get someone that says, well, how do I know this is really all natural ingredients? There are all these different things that are in it, and how can you really get it across to them that it's how nutritious it is and the health benefits? Because people seem to be really sketchy about how.
I have some comments on that one too. I'm stealing the show here. I like the From the Fields DVD. That's a really good one because it shows how actually it goes into all the detail on how natural it is, how Darren and Beachbody goes all over the country, all over the world, and finds the most healthy villages, and then Beachbody pays, or they actually put money back into those communities. So it covers that pretty well. I know that DVD, and I think there's a few others that cover that piece of it, but you really get the feel of how natural it is, and they go into some detail on the ingredients. That's one of my favorites. I don't know, MaryAnn, if you had a couple of yours.
Well, I was going to say the same thing. In the back office, there's a bunch of different resources. So just like when you're trying to show somebody what program to use and you send them recording, same thing with Shakeology. And even the P90X, the Tony Horton one, is a good one too. It's not talking necessarily about the natural ingredients, but
Rhonda mentioned digging into tugging at their heartstrings a little bit. Like one example is when you're asking them questions, and say it's a female you're talking to, as this example, and she's maybe giving you some resistance, and then you keep asking questions like, well, what about your husband? Because you mentioned this already. How's he doing? Well, probably you'll find out that he's not supportive for some reason. And because you know how guys are. and he's bowling night on Wednesday nights, and she usually wishes that he would do something more for his health, and he's not. So if you can get on that and dig into that a little bit, and you'll find out that maybe he has high blood pressure and higher cholesterol, and it really bothers her, and it bothers him too, but he may not want to admit it. Just get into those types of things, and you'll really break through, and then they'll know that they can trust you because you're actually listening to them versus just trying to sell something. Sometimes I just go into asking questions without even having a plan to talk about the product necessarily right away. And it takes a lot of the pressure off too, if you just try that. Sometimes we put too much pressure on ourselves.
Yeah, always saying like, oh, by the way, I love the kindergarten graduation picture that you just posted. Something that makes them feel good. Always try to make people feel good. That should be your goal.
Yeah, I mean, it's not, a lot of this is pretty easy. We don't have to overcomplicate it. Like if you're asking them people about their day and just general things, because people are all trying to find a good balance. And if it's something to make them healthier or save them some time, some money, have a happier home life or whatever it is, they're going to be perking up quickly.
Yeah, I think so. We probably have the objections posted in our Team Dynamo. So I would go back to that, and a lot of times you could just copy and paste what to say because there's a bunch of different objections on there.
And regarding coaching, there's a lot. I mean, we covered more of the product, but coaching, like I live in the middle of nowhere. That one's a pretty common one. But most people that live in the middle of nowhere are successful too, or a lot of people. Questions? So it's more role play, MaryAnn?
I'm good. I mean,
I'm good.
Does anyone have anything else, any other objections or anything else they wanted to share with us? I appreciate you guys being on the call tonight.
Rhonda just said, if you're not in the chat, Rhonda also said that there's a study done with great statistics from a test population too. So there's just numerous sharing videos and things out there.
Yeah, navigate your back office.
That video that Rhonda did is good too, the YouTube video of all the transformations.
Yeah, just you should always be sharing your story and letting people know about you and about what you believe in, and they're going to follow you and they're going to trust you.
Yeah, I think too that using everyone else's experiences, like there's so many people, Greg was saying he's 42 and has abs and on no medications, and like everybody has their own story. So I think if we can use everyone else, you don't have to have all the experience in the world, but like right now my target is a lot of moms because I'm a new mom, so I have a couple of people have said to me like, oh, well, you're a real inspiration because if you can do it, then I can do it. And that's my goal every day. Somebody, like when I was going to Pilates when I was still pregnant, oh, if you can do it, then I can do it. So I just kept going because it's like, oh, well, if I go, then maybe somebody else will go. So it's just, I think, just inspiring people, no matter what your story is. There's other stories that can match depending on what your target or your population is. So.
Right, because I know a lot of times people that are in super, super good shape actually say that it's sometimes more difficult because people think they're just like a robot. And, what's her, Danielle Katz, I remember she said this on the national call one time, because that was actually one of her hardest things to get by, is that people thought that she was, I can't be like you, so how, why would I want to even try? So they have to be able to relate to you and find that person that's maybe you're a couple steps ahead of, that you can help them get to the same spot.
The ones I'm having the most trouble with are ones who are living paycheck to paycheck. I don't know if any of you have any customers or, people.
I mean, like all of America?
Yeah, pretty much, right? And so that's been a lot of my, I guess, people out, not all of them, but a good portion of them will say, well, I'm not getting paid until this date, and then I've got this, and this to pay for, or I've got this and this medical bill to pay for. And I'm like, well, if I could get you to start drinking Shakeology, then you wouldn't have to go to the doctor for your high blood pressure, or, in a nice way. But it's like, I'm like fighting a battle of, like never ending. Like they don't understand that their $40 copay 3 times a month going to the doctor would go so far, towards a challenge pack and Shakeology. So I don't ever know how to approach my sickly customers, I guess. They're quite honestly, they're the ones that need it the most, the ones who just are literally living paycheck to paycheck. So I don't know.
Well,
that's
do
my
they
frustration,
want it?
I guess.
Do you feel
they really act like, yeah, I mean, I've got 2, and I've had them for 2 months saying, yes, they want it. And then it comes down to the end of the month, and I'll be like, what do you think? This is the one that you're wanting. It's on sale. And then they don't. And then they'll say the following month, oh, I still want it even though it's not on sale anymore. And then they don't. So it's like, I keep touching base, and they say, oh, yes. And then it's like, they're like, thank you so much for checking on me. I still, I'm still very interested. And I just keep saying, the same spiel of, well, I understand, but if if you're really, really serious about getting healthy, then, and then they're just the same thing again. I don't have the money, or I've got my kids' soccer, or I've got my,
I would
every
say that,
excuse.
yeah, give them all the same rebuttals that we were talking about, but keep moving, because some people will never come around.
Mm-hmm. Right.
And they want to have a crutch for an excuse a lot of times until they get past that. But I mean, some are valid too, but I mean, depending on everyone's situation. But I mean, if you really want to get healthy and you want to make a change, you can make.
That's what I'm thinking.
You can cut things out if you have to, but
right.
The need has to be higher than not doing it. Yeah, and Rhonda, we're not convincing people, because you lose all kinds of credibility too if you're sounding weak. Just say this works for me and all my friends, and when you're ready. But I'm not going to wait. I'm just going to keep moving.
Yeah.
And then you build the story of like you got 10 more friends and 10 more friends, and then the person's like, well, I should probably get on this before the train leaves.
Okay. Cool.
Yeah, create that urgency for them. Say, I'm asking you first, but if you're not serious this time, I have to move on because I only allow 5 people in my challenge group.
Right.
And if maybe they just want your attention, so they're telling you all those things. So maybe, you just need to be more, not abrasive, but just more matter of fact.
Okay.
I don't know what you guys think of that, but
I just don't want to sound, I don't want to sound like that, that post that was on there today. Like,
Yeah.
that's the last thing I want to come across as.
you won't.
No, there's a fine line there between
Oh, sure.
posting a link on your wall and you want to help people, but I mean, people have to help themselves too. They
Right.
can't just do it for them.
Right.
So you're reaching out, meet them halfway, and if they're ready, they'll do it. If not,
They'll respect
they
you
won't.
more.
Right. And I'll like their stuff. Like they'll be out and they'll, like one girl is on vacation and I'm like, oh, looks like you're having a good time. And I want to say, that's interesting. Huh.
Yeah.
On vacation.
Move on to new people.
Yeah.
Okay. Cool. That's I like to hear that because having someone tell me to move on from somebody sounds better.
Yeah, I mean,
I don't know.
name of the game.
Well, Rhonda said I just had a friend buy a Mercedes that can't afford Shakeology. That's true. I mean, that's true. I got people like that too. So you got to move on.
Everyone's priority is different though too, because some people they'll spend a lot on something that you wouldn't, and they don't value their health as much maybe. So yeah, it's frustrating though, but
Focus on all the good. Thank you guys. I'm gonna end the meeting. So hopefully I do a good job. I recorded it, so I just press stop record, right?
and then if you need to know how to upload it, you should just be able to find the file and drag it into Facebook basically,
Okay.
or YouTube. Should be pretty easy.
Okay.
If not, let me know.
Okay. Bye, guys. Thank you.
Thank you guys. Have a good night.